Welcome to the On Deck podcast presented by LineStar. I'm Shannon Sommerville here with Tyler Wiemann, about to break down some of your daily fantasy baseball for today. Today is Friday, June 3rd. It is National Donut Day and National Egg Day. Did you have either of those for breakfast today?
I did have some eggs.
Nice.
I could go for a donut.
So you celebrated.
Yeah, I celebrated.
Donuts for lunch. Speaking of National Egg Day, there were several goose eggs on the scoreboard yesterday. If you were watching the Yankees game against the Angels. Yep. Of course, Jameson Taillon had a perfect game going into the 8th inning. And, I learned my lesson from earlier in the season from ruining Nestor Cortez's no-hitter by saying he's throwing a no-hitter. And then come to find out, nobody cares anymore.
Nobody
cares.
Say it. It's
on
everywhere.
Twitter, on the broadcast, the Angels broadcast I was
MLB app is sending notifications telling you what's going on.
And it's not like they're cute about it.
No, they're just like, hey, he's got a perfect game through 7. All you have to do is
say, hey, look at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But no.
Nope.
So we'll have to go another.
Media is the reason we can't have perfect games anymore.
The last perfect game, if you were wondering, was Felix Hernandez back in 2012. So I don't know. And I was so excited too. I saw the score line on my phone, and then I was like, oh God, I got to watch this. And my dad called me to tell me what was going on as well.
So your dad blew it also?
But he didn't say it.
Oh, he didn't say it. All right.
He just said, oh, look at what he's doing. It's just.
Nice work, Don. Nice work.
So watching it, and then I was just devastated. But you know what? There's something about a perfect game. Regardless, I am a Yankees fan, obviously, but there's just something about a perfect game that's just so special, and you just have to stop what you're doing and watch it.
Absolutely.
And it's so nerve-wracking, and I was thinking, I'm like, I cannot imagine being one of the infielders on that. And what's your mentality as an infielder when someone I'm just like, please don't hit it to me. Well,
the other thing is that in every perfect game, there's one defensive play that's just insane.
Yeah.
And could have had that, but unfortunately Walsh hit the double.
Yeah,
it was a hard hit ball. It didn't go as an error.
Yeah, it was a hard hit.
So
and
could have happened.
Made a really good play earlier.
Didn't happen. That's
we'll have
true
to
also.
Wait another day.
And it was also the anniversary of Galarraga's near perfect game.
Crazy to think about that.
Where it was 12 years ago, where the umpire totally blew his perfect game.
And I just remember how, I think everyone else was more upset than Galarraga actually was. He was so nice about the whole thing. And I think the umpire, if memory serves, was very apologetic about it.
Yeah.
And felt really bad.
I mean, if you're in Galarraga's shoes,
what are you going to do?
Yeah, it makes no sense to really berate the ump or anything, because it's not going to solve anything. It's just it is what it is. Why not try and make him feel a little bit better?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure personally he hated it, but
I know.
I'm sure in his heart he knows he threw it.
There was more reversible stuff back then, and
well, yeah. I mean, then
now there's still a lot that isn't reviewable.
That's true.
So,
and it still brings us back to we could have a perfect game with Kershaw earlier this season.
That's a good point. And I thought it was a no-hitter, and I texted you, and I was like, oh, I guess it was perfect. And, it's just things aren't coming together for the perfect game. But I don't know. Maybe this is something. Somebody will hit it. I want to see it. I want to see it this year. Let's go. Come on, guys. Will it happen today? Let's take a look at our pitchers for today. We've actually got
How was that?
Do you like that transition?
Yeah. Maybe Garrett Cole?
Hey, he can dial it up. And it could happen against the Tigers.
They could.
They can't hit the ball very well. Let's talk about our high-owned guys. We're going to start off with Garrett Cole here. Going up against the Tigers, he's 40% owned on both sites, 3.12 ERA. Hey, 6th in strikeouts, 207 opponent average, and the Tigers are 28th in batting average. So if anyone could have a perfect game, let's go, Coltrane. Come on.
Detroit has been awful.
Yeah.
They're tied with the Oakland Athletics for 75 WRC plus versus righties. Both of those teams are also striking out 24%. So It is a great matchup. Cole's obviously an elite pitcher, an elite matchup, highest combined K rate on the slate at 29%. And one thing I'd like to point out is that Cole's K prop for today the line is 8.5.
Wow.
So it's up there.
Woo.
So,
that's pretty high.
Yeah. So that's probably a big reason why the good old 40% owned on both sides. Yeah.
So let's talk about Red Sox righty Nathan Eovaldi going up against the A's. He's 33% owned on DraftKings, 21% on FanDuel. He's got a 3.77 ERA, 2.47 opponent average. He's been really good this year. Last game, he went the distance, just 2 earned runs, 7 hits, 6 strikeouts in 9 innings. And looking at the A's, yeah, they're dead last in batting average this season, batting just .212 as a team. So a great matchup for Eovaldi today.
Yeah, and I mean, going against Oakland is Oakland versus righties is kind of just like picking an offense Colorado. Right. Yeah. Exactly. You just do it. There's going to be offense in Colorado. There's going to be an upside.
One of the exercises I'm getting into is every day just seeing what the pitcher that's facing the A's and probably knowing that pitcher will be a high owned.
I mean, at some point we would talk about them because if they're not high owned, then
they should be.
Why wouldn't you play them if they're low owned?
Yeah.
Anyways, but Eovaldi's been great lately. In his last 2 starts, 17 strikeouts, 4 earned runs, and 15.2 innings. His upside is almost as high as any pitcher on the slate because when he is kind of clicking on all cylinders, he is able to hit those double-digit strikeouts. He just comes with a little more variance. Thus, his price is a little bit lower. Also, his ownership is a little bit lower than, say, Cole. Mm-hmm. But decent K upside. He's been hot lately. I see no reason not to kind of keep going with it.
All right. Well, let's keep it in the AL East. This is like an AL East squad right here. We got Rays lefty Shane McClanahan towing the rubber against the White Sox today. He's 31% owned on DraftKings, 9% on FanDuel. Guys, this is MLB's strikeout leader right now. 12 and a half strikeouts per 9. He's got a 2.01 ERA. The White Sox, though, second fewest strikeouts. However, they do have the third lowest OPS. So, they might not strike out a lot, but they also don't produce much at the plate.
Yeah. First of all, Shane has been absolutely amazing. He's super good. 2.4 FIP over the last 5, 33% K rate. He does have a 30% K rate over the last 20, so he has been even better than he usually is lately. But as you said, the White Sox are decent. Second in WRC plus at 122 versus lefties, strikeout 21%, and they are top 5 in average, slugging, and ISO. So by no means is it an easy matchup, but Shane's been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's just been so good. Those strikeouts, man, that's crazy. Seems like the Rays always have a guy that just kind of comes not completely out of nowhere, but they just really know how to develop guys into these phenoms. All right, let's talk about Brewers righty Corbin Burns, also a pretty good pitcher, going up against the Padres today. He's 30% on DraftKings, 23% on FanDuel. He's got the 7th best ERA at 1.95, third in strikeouts, second best whip. Last game allowed just 2 hits in 7 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts against the Cardinals, who they're a top 5 offense.
And they don't strike out much.
11 strikeouts. Bodes well for him today against the Padres.
It does. And the Padres are below average against righties, which really hurts me to say, but it's the truth. Obviously, he's a great pitcher. The only issue with him is he is allowing a lot of fly balls. He has a low FIP, solid K numbers. The combined K rate for today is like 26%. And then in 44 played against the Padres, they're hitting 200 against him with 0 home runs and a 34% K rate. So there does show you some upside.
So all those guys pretty high owned though, but it seems like they all have great matchups and it's for good reason.
Absolutely.
But let's try to find some value if we can. We'll try to look at Mariners righty Logan Gilbert going up against the Rangers. And he's no slouch, guys.
No.
2.29 ERA, 2.01 opponent average. He threw 7 scoreless frames against the Astros, just 4 hits, 5 strikeouts there for him. And going up against the Rangers today. So what do you like about Gilbert's start for today?
Gilbert's another young pitcher that's been really good. 3.48 FIP over the last 5 with a 26% K rate. And in May, Texas has been average versus righties and striking out almost 26%, which is the 3rd highest in that span versus righties. So obviously upside there, solid K rates. The one scary thing about the matchup is in 49 plate attempts, Texas is hitting 312 off Gilbert. So they have hit him decently in the past. However, over the last 4 starts versus Texas, he's averaging 18.5 DraftKings points and 32.75 FanDuel points. So he still has produced at a decent clip as far as fantasy goes over those last 4 starts. And
will probably come in much cheaper than some of the other guys, right?
Yeah.
So
the other thing is that Gilbert does have a lower ERA and opponent batting average away. It's a 3.69 ERA and a 2.09 opponent average. So
interesting.
I do like Gilbert, and we'll see how it goes for him.
All right. Let's take a look at Blue Jays lefty Yusei Kikuchi going up against the Twins today. 3.48 ERA, 2.09 opponent average. Well, how the tables have turned for us here on the On Deck podcast, as Kikuchi was someone we would pick on in the early days of this season. He had an ERA in April that was over 5, so we had reason to. In May, though, that came down to 2.36, and then so he's figured things out.
Yeah, I used to get all excited about Yusei Kikuchi Day, but he's turned around. Now it's for a different reason. He's super cheap. Over the last 5 starts, he has a 2.69 FIP, striking out 20%. Meanwhile, Minnesota average offense first lefty, striking out at 22%. And Kikuchi has been way better at home. A 154 opponent average at home versus 250 on the road. Also, he's striking out 11.4 at home per 9 at home versus 8.1 on the road. So he's been way better pitcher at home. He's super cheap. I think he makes for a good SP
Yeah, and
too.
Twins 10th most strikeouts this season, so good matchup for him.
Absolutely.
Cleveland righty Shane Bieber also has a good matchup today going up against the Orioles. 3.19 ERA, 2.51 opponent average for the Biebs. The past 3 games for him have been great. Last outing against the Tigers, 1 earned run in 8 innings pitched, 5 strikeouts. And then the game before that, he had 10 strikeouts. So we know he's capable of some high strikeout outputs. The Orioles, of course, the 3rd highest strikeout rate, and they're 24th in batting average. So a favorable matchup for him, right?
Yeah, and the Orioles are a little bit better against righties, though. Only striking out like 22% versus righties. But it's Bieber. As we've seen in the past, he has amazing strikeout stuff, but it just hasn't really shown up this year. His K rate is down 10% from last season, which is a little worrying. So I kind of wanted to dig in the numbers more, and pretty much the rest of his numbers are around or better than what they were the year before. So I'm kind of thinking the strikeout stuff just hasn't shown up yet.
Okay. So
Or maybe he's had a little bit of bad luck. So with all of that, I suspect the Ks are coming. He's been great. He also has a 2.17 ERA away. And so I like Bieber today, especially at kind of low ownership. We know the pitcher that he is, and I'll take some swings.
we got some fever for that Bieber.
Yep.
Bieber fever. Let's go to the high on stacks. It's Friday. I'm getting a little weird.
It is Friday.
All right, let's get back on the rails. Atlanta versus the Rockies. Chad Kuhl is on the mound for the Rockies in this one. A high-owned stack of the day, obviously, Coors Field. An attractive option for you. Kuhl has a 3.56 ERA, 2.36 opponent average, and he's given up a home run in 3 of his last 4 games. 4 of 5 of those home runs have come against lefty bats, so something to keep in mind, I guess. But he hasn't been as bad as I guess you think, especially considering the Coors effect. But still, the Braves batsman paid off.
They're heating up for sure. The one thing about Chad Kuhl is away from Coors on the road, he has a 3.13 ERA, whereas at home it's a 4.41. So he's been much worse at home. He also has 31 innings away so far this season and only 16 at home. So those numbers of like his total numbers on this season are heavily swayed by his time on the road. Now digging in more a little bit, 39% fly balls, 33% hard contact. He's walking almost 4 batters per 9 over the last 5. Atlanta's slightly below average versus righties, but it's in Colorado.
Yeah.
We know they can hit the ball hard and pretty much get to any pitcher.
Yeah. So not a bad play there, but they are high owned.
Exactly. And the implied total is 6. So
yeah.
And they're far and away the highest owned team today. I would like to kind of.
So is that. Okay. So this almost sounds like maybe it's a fade opportunity.
I would say kind of like yesterday, where I said I would either stack them or totally fade them.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
I think it's kind of the same thing again, where I'm either going all in or staying away completely and hoping the game just doesn't have much offense.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at a different game here. We're going to go Cleveland going up against Orioles lefty Bruce Zimmerman. 4.53 ERA for Zim, 2.86 opponent average, 2.93 to right-handed bats though, and he's gotten lit up the past few games. He gave up 5 earned runs in his last outing against the Red Sox. The game before that, he gave up 4 home runs to the Yankees. All in all, he's given up 12 home runs over the past 4 games. So you can easily see why people are going in on the Guardians today.
Yeah. And it's 10 home runs in the last 15.1 innings, which covers his last 3 starts. But yeah, like you said, he's been awful. Cleveland has been average versus lefties. So they're not the offense they are versus righties. But they can definitely get to Zimmerman with how bad he is. 40% hard contact, 37% fly balls. He has an 8.1 FIP over his last 4, and there's warm weather in Baltimore. Implied totals 4.4. So, I mean, you can't really say they're not in a good spot.
Right.
Cleveland looks great. They just don't have the Coors effect.
Yeah. It's the Zimmerman effect, I guess.
Yeah, it's a new one.
It's a new one.
All
right, let's take a look at some low-owned plays here for today. And the first one we're going to take a look at this. Some AL East teams today. We're going first with the Toronto Blue Jays going up against Twins righty Chichi Gonzalez. Some uncertainty with his start as he's getting recalled up for the start. They've had some injuries on that rotation. So Mr. Gonzalez getting the start today. He hasn't had a game yet this season, so I'm not sure what to expect from him.
Yeah, in his career in the majors, he's had like a 5.6 ERA, so he's never been great. He has a 5.7 FIP over his last 20 starts in the majors. But so far in the minors this season, he has a 3.4 ERA. So he has been good in the minors. Now, who knows if that translates?
Sure.
And if it is a shorter outing, Minnesota's bullpen has given up the 3rd most home runs and they have an average FIP. Meanwhile, Toronto's hot. They're scoring 6.1 runs over the last 10 starts.
Yeah. Could be dangerous.
5.1 implied total for him.
There we go. New York Yankees going up against Tigers righty Elvin Rodriguez, who has a 6.17 ERA, but this is just 3 games of data to go off of. He hasn't gone past 5 innings in any of those. But you're looking at a Yankees team that's top 10 in slugging versus righties. They can crush righties.
Absolutely. And I mean, also anytime that it's warm in New York and it's going to help that ball fly a little bit more, you have to kind of pay attention. Meanwhile, Rodriguez is giving up 1.5 home runs per 9. He's walking almost 4 per 9, 6.17 ERA, almost a 5 FIP. It's hard not to kind of like the Yankees today, 4.7 implied total, and it looks like they're going a little under owned just because they haven't been as hot as they started out the year.
I know. They haven't. Yesterday was...
And Gallo's been awful.
Yeah. Not good. don't like to see that strikeout with bases loaded yesterday, man. Crushed me.
Bad.
But Rizzo got the job done.
Yes.
It's all good. All good. All right, taking a look at the Rays. They're going up against the White Sox. Vince Velasquez, who's got a 5.30 ERA, 2.54 opponent average. Righties are hitting him at a 2.91 clip. So, hey, another AL East, if I can talk today, team going up against a pitcher who's doesn't have great numbers.
It's Friday. We're good. But yeah, so Velasquez hasn't been great, giving up 1.8 home runs per 9, 5.11 FIP, 40% fly balls, 35% hard contact. The big thing here is Tampa Bay is hitting 391 versus Vince Velasquez.
Whoa.
Now, it is a small sample size. It was only 29 plate attempts, but like that number was just so big that it jumped out at me. I have to say something. However, Vegas is not that worried about it because the implied total is only 4. So it is by far the lowest implied total of the offenses we're talking about. But I do see some upside, and they're going to go pretty much unowned. So not a bad idea to throw
especially
some in there.
Since, some of those Yankees bats are going to be expensive.
Totally.
Same with the Blue Jays, probably. Mm-hmm. And so that's not
a
bad play.
Rays have a good mix of guys that are kind of cheaper and more expensive. So you can usually fit in some of those more expensive pitchers.
That's what because every time you try to stack Yankees or Dodgers or something, it's always like, I can't afford this.
But we got
I don't know how they actually do it in real life.
We got Kikuchi, though, so you can save some salary.
There you go. Get Kikuchi on your team.
Yeah.
It amazes me how he's just turned it around and just
it's out of control. Well, and Bruce Zimmerman has gone the other way. He started great. And everybody was like, wow, is he totally changed as a pitcher? And no. Nope, he's back.
All right, so we gave you some great options today for your daily fantasy lineups. Remember, if you want any more stats or analytics to help you optimize your lineup, go to linestarapp.com. Check it out. It'll help you with all of your daily fantasy needs. It'll also help you with prop bets, which that's where we're headed right now. We're going to start things off with our home run calls of the day. Where are you going today?
I am going to go pick on Bruce Zimmerman with Jose Ramirez. Zimmerman's given up 10 home runs in his last 3 outings, which covers 15.2 innings. Meanwhile, Jose Ramirez has 10 of his 13 home runs off righties and is slugging .685 versus righties. So I want J-Ram for a home run.
Nice. I'm going with the lefty bat of Oakland A's first baseman Seth Brown. Am I crazy to be taking a guy who's hitting .204 on the season, going up against Nathan Eovaldi, who just tossed a complete game? Don't answer that. Crazy like a fox, though. Despite being a great pitcher, Eovaldi has the highest home runs per 9 among qualified pitchers. He's giving up a 500 slugging mark to lefty bats, and Seth Brown is the lefty bat who has the ability to take great pitchers downtown.
It.
Seth Brown.
I hit dingers.
He did it just last week against the reigning AL Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray. He does it again. Seth Brown going downtown. That's plus 450 if you want to throw some money down.
Pretty solid.
Crazy
odds.
like a fox.
I like it. I like it.
All right. Now it's time for our prop bets of the day. Yesterday, I was kicking myself because I had Paul Goldschmidt for my home run call. Yeah. I had Juan Yepes for my prop bet over 1.5 bases. So, and as I'm making that decision, I'm like, Goldie, I got to go the bases props for Goldie, right? And I didn't at the last minute. I said, I love Juan Yepes, and he didn't do it for me. So
Yeps didn't do it.
Today's a new day.
You
hit your hitter prop yesterday. So
I did.
Are you going back to a hitter prop today? That's the big question.
I almost went back to a hitter prop. I was close. But I found a single game parlay I like.
Okay.
So we're changing it up today.
Parlay Friday. Let's go.
We are going Shane Bieber over 5.5 strikeouts and the Cleveland Guardians money line. That's going to be at plus 147. Bieber has a 2.17 ERA away. On his career, he has over 30% K rate, and Over the last 3 starts, he's averaging 7.3 Ks per game. And we've already talked about how Bruce Zimmerman has got lit up. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for the Guardians offense to score enough runs to win.
All right. Bieber fever on this
Bieber
Friday.
fever.
I am going with Guardians right fielder Oscar Gonzalez over 1.5 bases. That is at plus 100. He's hit that mark in 4 of the 6 games he's been up in the big leagues. He's just been a complete spark plug for this Cleveland offense. Today, he's going up against Orioles lefty Bruce Zimmerman, who is giving up a .311 opponent average throughout his last 5 games. And he's also given up 12 home runs in the last 4 games. Not only do I think Gonzalez will hit this mark, but he's also a pretty good candidate for a home run against Zimmerman today at Camden Yards. I'm also all in on anyone who has the SpongeBob SquarePants theme song as their walk-up song.
I did not know that.
You know that song, right? Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants.
Unfortunately, I can't say that I know that.
You didn't know that song?
My daughter's not watching SpongeBob yet.
All right, well...
You know?
There's a hidden verse.
If you need
I don't know.
Coco Melon songs, I got you.
Coco Melon? Well, there's a hidden verse in the SpongeBob SquarePants song that I'm going to reveal today on the On Deck podcast.
Oh,
it goes,
we got a treat.
Who will hit over 1.5 bases today? Oscar Gonzalez. He may hit a home run and that prop it will pay. Oscar Gonzalez.
Man,
that's the hidden verse.
We've got so many talents out of you. We've got limericks. We've had artist renditions. Now we have songs.
We got
hidden
songs.
Verses. Man, just a lady of many talents.
So, yes.
Can you comment what you want her to do next?
I can't believe I just did that. Okay, so we got SpongeBob SquarePants. Oscar Gonzalez over 1.5 bases. And isn't that awesome, though? So he has, like, I thought it was I did some research on this because I was like, maybe it's just a trick that the, little hazing situation. No, he actually chose that. He says, the kids like it. Got to get the kids going. And I was like,
does he have a kid? Maybe that could play into it.
I do
get
not
the kid,
know.
It's all for his kid. That'd be sweet.
That'd be really nice. Either way. I kind of like it, though, if he doesn't have a kid, just because I think that makes him more awesome because he's not.
I like it.
We're all kids at heart. You know what I'm saying? All right. That's enough for today. I think I've
it's Friday.
Reached my limit.
It's Friday.
That's going to do it for us. Remember to download the LineStar app. You can go to linestarapp.com to check us out. Follow us on Twitter. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe so you can keep up with all this crazy antics and, the latest SpongeBob SquarePants renditions we come up with here on the On Deck podcast.
I love it.
That's it for us today. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one. Bye.